Hello everyone, this is Brittany here with your art fill of the week, and this week I decided to change up all my avatars on my social media with a self-portrait, and I decided to go the traditional route and do watercolor. And here I'm just starting with, after my sketch, going in with watercolor pencil to get those lines in, and then I can go over with just clear water and blend that out so that it still matches when I put in actual watercolor paint. There are a couple different reasons why I chose to do traditional. One is I just really wanted to use my watercolor again, and I feel like I am better at portraits when I can have that tactile pencil on paper feeling rather than doing it digitally. There's a different feel to it. I can't erase and change things as easy, but it's easier for me to get the shapes I need to. And also because I feel like the digital space has begun to be just overrun and taken over by AI art. People using AI to quote unquote make and create art, and like I see it everywhere now, and I think some people don't even realize that it's AI generated art anymore, which is really sad, but I feel like this differentiates my art, and I am better at traditional art anyway, so it actually has kind of stopped me from continuing to learn and grow at digital art, because I feel like that medium is being taken over right now. And last year I did get art block, creative block, from just the idea of AI art and what that meant for artists, but I feel like there's a strong amount of people that are pushing back against it and still want that human art, creative piece of art, and I think that's very prominent in traditional art for sure, but digital art has also gotten to the point of actual artists drawing and painting digitally being harassed and accused of using AI when they're not. So I also wanted to avoid that too, because people are actually being banned off of websites because of so many people accusing them when they're not actually using AI. But that just goes back to what I was saying about people are starting not to even be able to tell which is an actual artist and which is generated by AI. I see it a lot on Facebook now, and I don't even think those, like, either they don't care or they don't realize that they're reposting something that's AI art, and there's a lot of like different sides to where they got the train, like what art did they train these off of, because you can't just have these AI think of the image themselves. They had to have taken it from something. So there's a lot with AI that it's annoying as an artist. That's gonna be the end of my AI art spiel, because I know there's a bunch of different ways to go at it. It is helpful in some ways, but in other ways it's not. So anyways, back to my self-portrait. I am starting to lay in all my colors of palette paints of watercolor. This is still my Mei Liang. If someone knows how to pronounce that correctly, and I'm not, please tell me. But it's that same watercolor palette that I'm again using. It was definitely a good purchase when I finally purchased it on sale. It's easy to pull out, and I have a wide array of colors. And if you haven't seen my first try using this palette, I'll link the video in the little card above to check that out. And here I'm just trying to lay in the base colors, and then darken them and go over them more later after they've dried on the page. I think this skin color was partially a trial and error thing, and I'm glad I got it right. Mixing the skin colors on my palette, like you can't see it, but it's that flap top lid that I mixed a couple colors into to get a skin color. I realized I have like more browns, like darker browns than a tan. Like I have a golden yellow tan, but I don't have like a pinkish tan, which is what I kind of needed for skin color. But I made it work. I just kind of have a summer glow to my skin in this self-portrait. And with my hair, I kind of added a couple different colors into that base coat to have depth and some shine to it with that yellow color, the like golden yellow, and to try to get individual strands as much as I could. Later on, once I had come back to it after it dried and stuff, I realized it didn't really look curly. So I go in later on, you'll see, and I add a ton of curls because my hair is naturally curly. The only times it's straight is when I straighten it myself. Otherwise it has some more wave and curl to it usually. And I also haven't added my glasses on yet because I wanted to get everything underneath done before I drew on and painted the glasses, because I still struggle a little bit with eyewear and getting it just right. I don't think I get it perfect to where I want it by the end, but it's definitely much better approaching it the way I did, and adding them on later than if I would have drawn them in and had to work with the watercolor to try to not get it to overlap where I didn't want it to, because obviously water is hard to control, so I didn't want to have a mishap. And you'll see I just keep adding darker brown layered on top of that light skin color to add shadow to my face. And here is where I was talking about, I use my watercolor pencils again and I go over and draw the glasses in. And my glasses are slightly purple. They're a dark brown purple. It's hard to explain. They have just a tint of purple in the dark brown. So I just went in with the purple pencil and then went ahead and did my clear water on that and let it dry before I darkened it and fixed any of the drawing with brown. The other thing while painting this that I realized I am not the best at currently is teeth and smiles. They always look weird to me when I draw or paint them. So that's gonna be another goal for me this year, is to practice teeth and mouths and smiling, because I tend to try and avoid drawing smiling, or I don't do individual teeth. Kind of like, I still need to get better at hands, but when you are first learning to draw and hands are hard body parts to draw, so like you tend to hide them somehow, like especially with my like elementary and middle school drawings, you put the arms like behind your back, like you're standing at attention but not having your arms at your side, but they're behind your back. That's how you tend to draw people when you don't like to draw hands. You'll see that with a lot of beginner artists too, because they just avoid that because it's hard to draw and it doesn't turn out right and you end up erasing over and over again. So that's kind of what I'm at with teeth and drawing or painting teeth. So that's gonna be a thing to improve on, along with just portraits in general, which is also why I decided to do and show a self-portrait, because hopefully doing this video then in a year or whenever I decide to, or maybe at the end of the year, I can do how far I got in a year practicing art kind of thing, if I actually practice doing teeth and stuff. So that'd be a fun thing to look back on, because seeing improvement, you don't see it until you take a drawing from like a year ago and then look at it way farther in the future and you're like, oh, I really did improve. And here is where I said I added in a bunch of my curls. I still kind of went crazy with curls. It turns out fine at the end. I just think I needed a better plan before I went in and like do a practice sheet or something, or test sheet. So next time that might be what I do, just to practice how I want to incorporate the curls. But it turned out fine with me just kind of freestyle putting in curls. I think just some of them didn't go a direction they should have, but I like my hair by the end much better than before I started the curls, so it was a good adjustment. And you've already realized that I did kind of like almost like a tie-dye blue and purple background behind my head, and I realized when doing that probably should have been an earlier step, but I've learned now, and the curls kind of helped to fill in some of the white space that was left. So next time I know if I'm gonna put a background, because I don't like the plain white space, that I should incorporate the background early on instead of this far along in the drawing. Like, I probably should have done it around the time that I started in with my watercolor pencils at the very beginning. And I hope you are enjoying different camera angles in this process. I've been trying to switch it up just to show you different sides to the creation process, and to keep it a little bit interesting with different angles of how I'm painting, and switch up the view a little bit so that you're seeing the drawing from different angles, and not like I'm trying to be deceptive by only having at a perfect angle that everything looks correct and drawn perfectly. I want to show you my imperfections, so you know that even if someone's been creating for years, that they still make mistakes in their art. So if you're learning and a beginner, you can make mistakes, and it's fine. Everyone is learning as they go, even if they're quote-unquote talented in it, which is what I get a lot because I had a grandma who was very good at art. And here is where I start adding in those final touches to fix and make things how I want them to be in this self-portrait. Adding in better eyelashes, eyeliner, and fixing the pupils in my eyes, adding all the dark of the watercolor to make things stand out, and the edges of my face so that it looks a little bit more rounded. I also looked at my nose and wasn't completely happy with, like, the shadow just looked wrong, so I went in with some darker brown and fixed that and added even more dimension to my face, because it seemed a little too flat to me. So I kind of imagined a light source and went from there and added some shade and shadow to my face a little bit more since it just wasn't where I wanted it, and also the shadows under my glasses and the rims and still by my eyes and just all the different places that a shadow would be cast on my face. I realized that that was why it still wasn't quite right yet. And as we're getting towards the end of my video here, let me know what your different goals for 2025 are, whether they're art related or just some different skill related goals that you want to hit this year or work on. And also if you enjoyed this cozy talk session and creation video for my self-portrait, please give this video a like, and also if you're new here to my channel, please hit that subscribe button for more art videos like this. I do a lot of cozy videos, I do different painting videos, some Bible journaling videos, so there's a lot of different art things that you might be interested in besides just this, and I will see you in next week's video.